WJL-Show. And tonight we're just painting some rocks. That's what we're doing. I'm gonna just do kind of a little scene on this rock. It's very small. I've already kind of started out wrong. So we'll just have to work to fix it. I finished up the art fair. Today's what, Monday? Yeah. So I finished up the art fair the other day, Saturday. I did quite well. I have a story to tell about this. And I think I'm just going to get right out with the story. Because part of the art fair is it's actually a tour. There were like 10 different stations. You tour around town, and you're touring around town, and you get set up in a location that is in a business. And so mine was in a realtor's business. And then people who take the tour, they get an option to, they fill out a card, and then at the end of the tour, they so their card goes in for a raffle of sorts. And so every artist provides a piece of art or whatever, or a craft or whatever it is for the raffle. And so I was kind of debating all for the 2 days what piece it was going to be. I had like two pieces in mind. I could have did one of my cards, but I ultimately chose not to. And what ended up happening is I got the guy's name. I didn't know if it was an adult or a kid, because sometimes it could be. And I called the number up, and then the guy says, "Oh, okay, I won something great." And then he says, "Well, I guess I'll just swing back into town there, right, and pick it up." And I said, "Well, I'm not in town there. I don't live in the town there." He says, "Oh, well, that's interesting. Okay." Then he says, "Well, I'm at this location, near," and I said, "Oh, I'm near that location." And then he said, oh, "Okay, all right." And he said, "Well, I am on such and such road." "Well, I live on such and such road." And then the guy said, "Oh, well, I'm at so and so's house." "Oh, that's my neighbor just right down the street." And so that was how. So this guy that won the door prize was just down the street, one block down from where I live, visiting friends. And so that was just so serendipitous. I've had those kinds of experiences happen before in different things like that before. The serendipity of the moment. And it's always, it always takes you by surprise, or just, I don't know, it's kind of an awe-inspiring moment when it happens to you, that I don't, it's like that. So like, for instance, I used to live in McMinnville, Oregon. I'm an Oregonian. I was born in Oregon. I had relatives that migrated from Ohio on the Oregon Trail in the 1850s, and different waves of migration coming from different times. I'm just gonna put this little tree kind of back here, some bushes, so it's got some senses of some depth here. And anyways, The first big city that I ever moved to was McMinnville, Oregon. I don't live in a city now. I live in rural area. I live in the Oregon Coast Range. Just put it to you that way. I don't have to say exactly where. Welcome, Wiser. Welcome. And when I was living in McMinnville, I went to college in McMinnville, and there was a guy that I hung out with a lot. He was an English teacher at the high school, and he looked like a character right out of, I think, Star Trek. I'm fine, Wiser. And so this guy, he was an English teacher in, while he still had a little bit of, I think it was like Star Trek Voyager. No, Brashear. He looked like I think it was Dr. Brashear in, I think, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He looked like a character out of Deep Space Nine. But anyway, that's what he looks like. And he was an English teacher at McMinnville High School, and then he also did theater. Well, we organized an open mic together in the town. It wasn't like our relationship was purely just a friendship. It wasn't like a romantic thing. So you don't get the wrong idea here. We're not talking about romantic stuff here. We're just talking about, normal male relationships with males who have similar interests and so forth, because those kind of relationships are, I'm just doing some little painting here. I'm painting this rock and doing a little scene on it, and because those relationships are very important. We have to have same sex friendships in our lives, and because you have to have friends, you have to have people that you can relate to. It's important to have people that you can relate to in your life. And then as you get older, it's harder to meet people. It's harder to have friends. And so you have to maintain the friends that you have. And a lot of people just plain don't have any friends because, you go off, you get married, and you have children, you got your wife, you got your children, you have your family, but beyond that, you don't have any friends. And then if you're not like a sports person, you're like me, who's not a sports person. Now, if I lived closer to town, I would go on the bowling league, and but then granted, a lot of the people who bowled, or I don't do sports, I don't do stuff like that, but nevertheless, so what I'm getting at, so I was hanging out with this guy who was an English teacher, and we planned for the town, did open mics, a poetry open mic, and that was the way it was. Then I moved to Seattle, and I got heavily involved in the spoken word poetry scene in Seattle, Washington. And that was one of the reasons I moved up to Seattle, was for the spoken word poetry scene. It was and just because I'm a poet writer, or I was a poet writer before I was a painter, and when I met early on, I met people in the scene. I met this guy Larry, and we became fast friends. We did a lot of things. We did a writing group together. I did that with this other lady, who we're still really good friends. I'm still really good friends with this guy. So, and with Larry, I met Larry just shortly after I moved to Seattle. I moved to Seattle in December 2003, and I met Larry in like February, January, February of 2004, just like moments after I just started doing open mic poetry. I was doing it at a place called On the House, and it was a storefront church, so they did church services. It was like a community living room at that time. It was a really cool place. But nevertheless, okay, so I journeyed together with Larry the entire time that I was in Seattle. Now, around 2010, I got on, I guess that's when Facebook came into existence. And I did Facebook, and then we kind of connected up on Facebook. And then that's when I discovered that this guy that I was friends with in McMinnville, who was the high school English teacher, and my friend Larry from Seattle were old friends. They had gone, they went to a university in Chicago together, and they got MFAs together and did theater together. And so this was a small world thing that happened. Now, also, other small world things that happened while that I've had in my life. And of course, you all, everyone, if you kind of think about it, you have these small world things that happen. And another small world thing that happened is, so this on the house place, this storefront church, well, it was kind of run by Nazarenes, and they went to the same college that my mother went to. My mother went to a Nazarene college in Idaho, and they had gone to and so then one of the folks that was there, they were friends of these pastor and their wife, and good friends. And I got to talking with this lady, and it comes to find out that her dad and my mom were in the same class at Northwest Nazarene as its university in Idaho, Washington. And so that was like just a small world thing. And that was happening all the time. You get all these small world incidences that were going on. And so here we go. We got this little scene on here. And is anybody still watching? Is this thing even... I should check to see if the stream is even viable. I'm just like flapping my yap here. And yeah, okay. I guess it is viable. All right, so this looks pretty nice. It has a little bit of a, we can just take a look at it. Nice little scene, painting small. I painted this earlier on the back. Oh, the paint's still sticky. So I just not going to mess around with it too much. But I'll kind of work on the sky a little bit here. Going to... we'll just get another brush here. What can we do with the sky? All right, I got too much paint here. We're going to have to use this paint for something else here soon. There's no sense wasting paint, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm going to be taking this. This is a fluorescent blue, and this is a professional grade paint, and I'm just using nothing but professional grade paints here. I'm just going to take the color right out of the thing here, and let's put some high up clouds. Mix it with a little white. Maybe it just kind of changes the color of the blue out just a little bit. Get some high up clouds, and we're kind of painting around things like this was a watercolor or something like that. But yeah, I kind of wanted to tell you that story about just with how amazing it was that the person who won the door prize from my station at the art tour just happened to be visiting a friend in the little neighborhood that I live in. I thought that was just so amazing. It was just kind of stunning, that serendipitous moment. Maybe you guys watching in can talk about a little bit of a serendipitous moment that you've had in your past. Something that was just noteworthy, that blew you away when it happened. We can stretch that blue out a little bit more, adding in. I got my little palette over here. Just kind of changing the little nature of that color just a bit. Just go grab the color a bit. We'll move it in here, in and around the trees. And we're just painting small. Small is kind of fun too. You know, it's kind of fun to paint small. But the beauty about painting rocks is that you can, if you F it up, you just paint over it again. Paint another coat of white on it. Maybe you just sand it down, you wait for it to dry, you sand it down a bit. You know, do something like that. Just completely reuse the rock. But maybe it'll be something that's good enough that can be used like a stocking stuffer or something like that. I'm just going to just see how, you know, paint the background in. You know, maybe it's just kind of white sky. Maybe it's cold like winter. Thank you, J-Man Drawing. Thank you. So this is for scale. If I were to look at the size of this item for scale, do I got a coin here? Oh, yeah, I got a dice. This is what size the rock is compared. This is just a standard ordinary dice. Oh, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. You know, art isn't the only thing I do on this channel, but I do a fair amount of it. Maybe I'll do more of it. I don't know. Go back and do paper mache again. Do you like paper mache? I did when I went to the art fair, I took some paper mache objects with me. You know, I have a bunch of paper mache objects. I think I'm gonna, don't know what to do with them. I have a lot of stuff I just don't know what to do with. It's just like, you have to store it. And unless you have like an outlet for sales on some of these things, it's like, what do you do with it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you? And as so far, I just only have like one art fair that I go to a year. But then the last time it happened was 2 years ago. It was kind of locally, you know, the price is kind of right because a lot of the other ones, they cost a whole lot more money and so forth. And all right, let's just move this over here like this. And we're gonna just bring the sky all the way down to the ground. But then we're gonna need to use up the paint because I got. But you know, this is also a really good exercise too, because I do this with watercolor all the time. You fit the background around the objects that you paint, and so I like the exercise of it. Oh, it's kind of. You made a paper mache volcano. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I have. Let's see, I do have one paper mache object here. I made this in the summer of 2024. I just kind of like bent some wire around, and then we used tissue paper. I used tissue paper like it was paint on it. Now this one I used a uncooked paper mache paste, essentially just flour and water. But after that, I learned about, you know, doing a cooked kind. You cook it and then it dries on clear instead of being kind of all kinds of powdery like this. And yeah, I probably should do paper mache again. I sold one of my paper mache masks at the art fair. I let me just see if I can draw it up on my other device. I can show it to you. What there was a mask that I sold, and let's see here. We go into some of the items that were at my art fair. Yeah, this here is the mask that I sold. And this this is like a funny face. I think I do have the mold for this that I can make another one someplace. Yeah, I should do that, make another one like this. Sold this one. That was a cool mask. So yeah. I mean, I didn't make these masks actually to be worn for like Halloween. I made them really, it was like wall hangings and things like that. But this one did have eye holes, so I suppose it could have been. Here's like some of my, this is like the art as it was on display. Um, some of these things are old pieces of art, new pieces. Let's see, what else did we have here? And so the pieces that I sold were this painting here. Um, this one down here. Yeah, I sold 3 paintings. This one became my door prize. I like this mask. This is like a funerary mask. I have a cool story about that one. Okay, I guess I chased everybody away. I could make a mask series or I have a lot of playlists. I have a lot of I have these things in my playlist already. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, because a lot of that one that I with the big long tongue, I did that in the summer of 2024. Well, this paint goes a long way when you want it to. I actually stream quite a bit. I stream, I try to stream at least 3 times a week. Now, I do interview people as well. And soon I'm going to restart my other YouTube channel. Trigger warning. I'm I don't know anything about Pokemon. I'm kind of that comes out of my gen. I don't know. I know nothing about Pokemon. Sorry, it's not a. Though when I was playing video games, when I played video games, buddy, it was on a PlayStation 1. I still have that PlayStation 1. And that's when PlayStation 1s were when you got you remember the PlayStation 1? So that level that was like almost 30 years ago. That's the last time I played video games on a regular basis. I mean, I do like some puzzle apps and things like that on my phone, but you have a PlayStation 5, so yeah, that's I'm really kind of I just don't play games. That's all. When I did play games, there was like I played Duke Nukem, and I played on I played video games on pre Windows computers. So in the 90s, in the 1990s, when I was in my 20s, is when I I played video games. But and then when I was like a kid, a kid, I played. Those were games that you put quarters into. You went to an arcade and you played games like that at an arcade, and they had games like that. And so I played like Pac-Man and um, Frogger, uh, Miss Pac-Man, Frogger, Space Invaders, Donkey Kong. Then like some earlier Mario Brothers. I think they had some when they were on those arcade game consoles. I played games at that time, stuff like that. So yeah, Crossy Road. So way in the way back machine. So I was born because I was a teenager in the 1980s. Actually, I think I turned a teenager. What I turned yeah, that's right. Because I graduated from high school. Well, I essentially I turned 21 in 19 in like 1989. So I mean, to just show you how I'm kind of I'm like almost I'm just about 60 years old, and but I'm not a kid anymore, but I have a spirit within me that's a kid. Does that make any sense? You when you get older, you're gonna understand that's the way things are. Is that there's a part of you when you're a kid. There's a part of you that's just never gonna grow up. That part of me that hasn't grown up is the part that does art. It's the part that does tarot, or the part that has or I think about the mysteries of life, or what is beyond life, or if I look at my series of talks that I've had with Tarot Ask Backwards, and which I have one coming up this Thursday at 5 o'clock uh, Pacific time, that all of that imagination that I'm tapping into is all that kid in me, and the whimsy, and the whimsy that paints rocks. That's that whimsy of me as a that's still kind of a child inside. It's kind of important, I think, to maintain a little bit of that childlike nature in yourself, because it helps you to connect up with it with and you connect up with your creativity, your awe and wonder of nature, and all of that thing. It helps you to stay connected to your spirituality, to stay connected to that aspect of yourself. So how's this look, this little rock here? It's pretty much all done. I did this earlier on another channel, and I'm going to upload that video after I finish editing it, and as a long play video on this channel. So I have a TikTok channel that I'm using as like for experimental things, for experimental video work, to experiment with different ways of doing stuff. I might add a different color into here. I think that I will. I think I'll take a drop of this fluorescent pink and just add it right into here. And these types of colors added in will add to a sense of like the coldness. So you saw my new short. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't actually done shorts for a while. But you know, it would be nice if I could like break. Oh, you saw the mask. Yeah, that was my funerary mask. I'll tag Moon Scarab into this video, and that Moon Scarab, he's got a big channel. I think he's got 13,000 subs on his channel, and I need to have him on my channel again sometime. I don't know what we'll talk about, but maybe mythology or something like that. That's kind of what I want to talk about. It's kind of fun. I know algorithmically, when you start going down the road of doing too many different types of content, that you really can screw yourself over. But your dream is to stream like me. Well, you just got to just start doing it. But maybe you're not old enough to do it yet. Yeah, I can see that might be a problem. So I'm going to put this fluorescent rose in here just to make like some high up clouds and make it seem as though it's like colder outside. I've been streaming for 2 years. J-Man Drawing, I've been doing streaming for, about 2 years. And it gets easier. It does get easier. You don't have enough subscribers, is that what you said? But if you I'm doing this off of a mobile device, so you need like 50 subs in order to start that. But you can stream from zero if you use a computer. If you do it like on a laptop or a desktop computer, if you have access to something like that, you can begin streaming from lesser amounts of stream off. Go streaming off that. You use a computer. Now, so you're adding this additional color in here. It does add complexity and depth to your painting. Yeah, this actually looks pretty cool. I'm really kind of liking it. I'm not using very much paint. I have a lot of paint on here that I'm going to have to use up. I hate wasting paint. So what kind of What kind of what do you want to do, J-Man, for your content? What do you want to do for content? Let me go look at your channel. So you have 38 subs and 13 short videos. So this is J-Man Drawing here. Go check out his channel. Help him get to 50 subs so that he can do oh, look at that. You got some like cool anime stuff. And you're like doing drawings and stuff like that. That's cool. Do the time lapse stuff. All right, well, I'll give you a sub here. I'm subbing off of my other channel here, and I'll just go switch accounts and go. We will promote your channel here a little bit. So we are coming in here, J-Man Drawing. Let's go to your channel. And I'm going to go share your channel in the chat. So for those out here looking in, go give JMAN and your support. Help him to reach 50 subs. Let me see. Let me get that thing to paste out there. Is that not doing it? I didn't grab it. I didn't grab the. Well, that's a bum. I thought I grabbed that. There we go. There we go. So go check his channel out. If you like drawing, he's doing non-live art. But what you can do, JJ Man, and I do this on my my TikTok channel. I do it on my and do what I call almost live art. I do almost live art. I don't want this paint to go to waste. So we'll just put some of that in there. Oh, you're back. Oh, you didn't even see that I was plugging your channel in there, JJ Man. You were gone while I was plugging your channel. Huh. Anyways, what I'm going to say is you can do almost live videos rather than time lapses and things like that. Almost live ones, but what it does for you is you have to do a lot of practice to live stream. You got to do a lot of practice talking stream of consciousness, because that's kind of like one of the skills you got to have. You got to be able to narrate as you go along. And I'm going to put this green, this phthalo green in here. I put that in there so it gets, maybe it looks some like a little bit of complexity into that. Maybe we get another little tree or bush or something like that over here, way off in the distance. So yeah, you got to work on being a chatterbox. You probably need to get a little bit older before you can do live streaming and stuff like that. I don't know if you can live stream when you're. I think there's a minimum age you have to be. Another little bush over here. So you are a chatterbox, but you know what? Being a chatterbox in class is totally different than being a chatterbox on a camera when you're doing like live streaming and stuff like that. It's a total different thing. I'm not really much of a chatterbox. I'm starting to get that way, but I was a pretty shy person. Didn't do much talking at all. Yeah. So if you can come into a place where you do live streaming, I'm going to just give you some suggestions here. You're going to have to ask some of your friends to mod for you. I mean, people you actually know in the real world to be your mods, because all my mods that I have on this channel are all people who've been on my channel as guests and from guests and so forth. So this thing's almost done here. Let's put a little more of this kind of a greenish color in here, like there's some different colors coming out of there, some perspectives. There we go. Maybe we'll just continue the fence around. Like that. It helps to have somebody to talk to, like you're talking to somebody, rather than you're just talking to nobody. Anyway, so that's a little scene that we got. Maybe we'll do put like a moon or something in there. Okay. Off over here. Oh, you're very kind. I'm sure that you got some other YouTubers that you like as well. That's kind of very subtle. It's kind of like a dirty spot up in the sky. Anyway, so this thing is done. Let's put that over here. I got to use this paint up. I got a couple different colors here. I think I'm going to need to change my camera. Change it up a bit. Oh, we can do it all close up. We can do that. Paint another card. Okay. I'm going to raise the camera up. Here. Let's do it from here. All right. There we go. I think that's a good start. I think I can start with those colors. All right. So that's done. Nice rock with a nice little forest scene on it. And then there's a Christmas tree on one side. A little forest scene on the other side. Little tiny rock. Painting rocks. That's kind of fun. Let's see. What are we going to start with? I'm going to be using up this Azileron Crimson. I like Azileron Crimson because it has a, when you like doing things that maybe look like wood or something like that, I kind of think about what would be the best type of background. What is this? Okay, I know what we're doing. We're going to do like an old snag. And we're going to put a kind of a snag, an old, which is like an old tree. I'm going to put this in here because against the background, this is going to look like it's going to come alive with the way it's like a cloud cover and like the sky is moving. And I like that effect. Oftentimes it happens very randomly. You know, you plan for it, but it doesn't always work out. So when you add, like, say, some colors like Azileron Crimson, and then you mix it with like a yellow ochre or something like that, it makes for a nice kind of a woodsy kind of a color, a woodsy effect. And so we're just going to start this off, and then I'm going to have to turn the camera off and get ready to go to sleep because I got a busy day tomorrow. Busy day. And so this one, if you're going to just like imagine the scene here, is that you're going on a hike. You're on a hike and you come up to a hill and you see this, Golden. This is the product I use, Golden paints. I also use Amsterdam paints for practices, but this item here is not a practice painting. It's a greeting card for maybe Christmases or something else, which I'm painting it for sale. It's a sellable item, and I have some. I need to create some more of these for people. There's people who want my Christmas cards, and I think I have 2, possibly 3 clients this year for Christmas cards. And I like Golden paints. And these are actually semi-transparent and transparent paints. And I really recommend that as you go along in your painting career. So I've been painting for almost a decade. It'll be 10 years. Actually, it's 10 years. It's pretty much close to 10 years right now. As you go along in your painting, you can greatly enhance your ability and your skills by moving away from opaque paints and moving towards, I'm going to put like a branch on here, like it's got a limb that comes out on, and going on to transparent and semi-transparent hues. I think that's what we call it, hues, or basically paints that, like here, you see this here, it's got these black lines here. Well, this paint, you can see the paint on the top, but you can also see what's underneath it. And this effect here, when you really work on creating paintings and adding layers and layers and layers of paint on, you will find that using glazing fluids and semi-transparent and transparent paints, that it will greatly enhance your images that you create. So we're just going to see about using up. Then you also want to spend time, if you do like me, I'm doing landscapes, you want to spend time looking at these things in nature. Spend time looking, and you'll see as we go add a second color onto this how much this Azileron Crimson looks like something out of nature, right out of the natural world. So we're just doing like happy trees because Bob Ross. I mean, go watch Bob Ross. Happy trees, happy accidents. So far, I haven't made any accidents. I'm going to just bring this over here. I don't know if I'm going to put any leaves on it or not. I think I'm not. I think it's just going to be branches. Just branches. I can say that it took me a long time to paint these lines. I'm using a number 2 liner brush here. And I don't know if you can see it, but I certainly can see it. This across with the backdrop and the backdrop here, that it looks alive. It just looks alive. You don't necessarily need straight lines because there aren't lines aren't all that straight in nature. So you see it. You see how it looks alive against the backdrop. How like the sky looks like it's almost moving. I'm just going to put these little branches in. Just light strokes. A little bit of water. It took a long time. It took a long time to get this technique down. I'd watch these tutorials and they said, oh, you just got to use more water. And things just weren't working out. But he was absolutely right when he said you got to use more water. And we're just putting these little tiny lines, faint touches, just to get that sense of branches and the randomness of it all. And there we go. Maybe a little bit more over here, or maybe this is just like that. Kind of over here. Kind of connecting up to this point. But one of the important things to keep in mind when you paint is that it is very important to balance expectations against reality. That's one of your most important lessons that you can learn, simply because what frustrates a lot of new painters is that what you imagine something to be and what that something is often two different things. And a lot of times it's best to not really have a lot of expectations about what it is that you are creating. I mean, I painted the same images over and over again. I'll just be absolutely frank with you. It's drawing book. I don't have a drawing book actually. I don't know what you're talking about. What brand of drawing book? These blanks here are card blanks, which it's actually watercolor paper. It comes. I bought 50 card blanks with envelopes, 5x7 envelopes. I think for like $20 on Amazon. They were some offbeat brand. I usually a lot of times use like Stratmore, or I use Cranston XL paper. But I've been really satisfied with these card blanks. They've the oh well, I'm drawing on this is 100% cotton watercolor paper. That's what I'm working off of right now. Because I like how watercolor paper behaves versus, let's say, using a multimedia paper. And because when you move on to, like, let's say, watercolor doesn't work very well on multimedia paper. And so yeah, I'm not gonna do too much more on that, but let's go move over to. So this brand, I have no idea what this brand was. It was an offbeat brand. I'm just going to use up the rest of the. And what we're doing now is we're just laying the color down. And this is kind of using the flat of the brush. I'm kind of using this brush like it were a palette knife. But this kind of helps it to texture things so that it looks a bit more lifelike. I guess that's the word you want to call it, lifelike. And if you look closely here, and these are both semi-transparent colors, and you look closely, you can see the other color right through. So optically, this yellow ochre and this Zilron crimson, it becomes another color optically. And this is kind of the nature of doing these layers. Rather than mixing this color on your palette, you lay these colors down on the canvas or that you're using, and it just brings out we'll just do it this way so you can I want to just bring it in there really closely so you can actually see what it is that I'm talking about. and how that this yellow ochre behaves with the Aziron Crimson optically. This is advanced painting techniques. Now, if you are that's what it is. This is advanced painting techniques. And you're creating, and see, this almost looks like it's black. This almost looks like it's black, but it's not. It's red. And it's kind of bringing out kind of make it look alive. Oh well. Shoot. Okay, we'll have to figure something out there. That's an accident. We have to turn the accident into the accident into something. I wasn't expecting to get. Shoot. I gotta see if I can get that off of there. It's like a cloud of some kind. It's hardly noticeable. It's not noticeable at all. Just kind of rub it off and lift it off here. Before it dries, you can lift it off. Now it's this kind of yellowish color. Makes it kind of greeny up there. I'll have to fix that later. If I can. Damn. Wasn't expecting that to happen. Oh well. Stuff like this happens all the time when you're doing painting. You got to be prepared for those accidents like that. All right. That's one of the kind of a trees that we got going on here. Outside of that little accident over there, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Oh, I don't know if I can fix that. I guess it means that this is not something for sale. All right. Okay, well, we're going to put another tree in then. And come back. Because I got some more of this Zilron Crimson here. I'm going to put it over here. Kind of there in the background. It's just to get some perspective. We'll... Oh, that light burned out. That means this other light's going to burn out too. Having camera lights helps. Okay, I gotta get it off of there. So this was the light panel that I had that burned out. And see, the lights make a huge difference, because see here how it changes the colors on there. Maybe I go change it to a cooler color or a warmer color. It kind of brings the brings the colors alive. So if you are a content creator or you want to be a content creator, you do have to think about that. Think about the lights, especially if you're going to do something like this, getting lights and stuff. Just going to have this over there. It's like it's kind of relaxing off into the foam. It can be like a wishbone tree or something. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I think it means that I'm going to... Oh, I know how to fix that. I'll have to do a branch over there with some color on it, and that will... So it still has some leaves on there. That's the only way I can know how to fix it. So we've got this tree that has wired itself out. Good old Y tree. Wishbone. It's a wishbone tree. All right, we're gonna fix this spot over here. This is a weird tree. We're gonna fix this spot. So we're gonna come off over here with a branch. This is where you get those happy accidents. You know, Bob Ross talks about the happy accidents. Now we're making a happy accident turn into something. It's kind of important to keep your cool when you're painting too, because it's sometimes easy to get really frustrated when things just aren't turning out the way you want them to. Just to know that, you know, if you get frustrated, everybody gets frustrated when they're doing things. It's just a part of nature, part of light. JJ man, I did not use watercolor. This has been a this has been a on this one, it's been acrylics the whole way. I'm gonna put this one up beyond the sky, and I'm just gonna use some little motions here. I got that phthalo green here. It's mixed in with the Azilron crimson, so it kind of makes it a brownish color, and so that a little bit of that yellow ochre that is off in the that got smudged on there. It'll make it look like there's some light coming through. And this is your simple way of making leaves. Just little dots, light pressure. I'm going to have to fix that tree. I don't think I'm going to fix it today. I think that's going to be, as soon as I get this spot fixed, I'm going to turn the camera off because I got to go. It's after midnight. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I got to get up in just like 6 hours to go get going. See, it's fixed. That's that yellow ochre spot fudge up spot up there is fixed now. You know, but then we have this time of the year. It's over there, one branch that's all fixed like that. And let me come over here with some other colors. Maybe down here the leaves have all fallen off now. Faith, hey Arkin, welcome. Welcome to 999 Show Live Art. We just fixed a happy accident. Happy accidents here. To use Bob Ross's language. I put some green in here. Different colors. I didn't really want to do this, but that smudge kind of forced my hand on that one. Isn't that what I'm doing right now? When you do those actual tutorials, lots of people do those tutorials though. You got to really think about what you're saying and maybe plan things out a bit more. I didn't plan anything here tonight, JJ man. I didn't do any planning at all. We just my plans was just painting that rock was the only plan I had. I wasn't planning on putting extra paint on the palette that I felt like I needed to use up. Let's go work on this tree a bit more. Just leaning a bit. So it's going to look more natural like. I wanted it to look more far away than this one, but now it's starting to look like it's in maybe it's the same tree. Huh. That's actually possible. This could be the same tree. And it kind of forks there. I mean, there's a hair on here. Gotta get that off of here. I don't like hairs on my palette. I think this one's gonna be having no not this green I need to use. We'll just put that green in there. It's gonna make it look black. And that's good because it makes it even look more brown when you add like red and green together. You're just like one step away from black. Optically, this looks black now. So yeah, well, that paint's starting to get kind of hard. We're just gonna put this some of it over here, like it might be some moss. I got that white. I have to put that one to... Well, I'm not going to be putting white in this one, so... The paint's already dried. I'll just put this up here. No more happy accidents. Just sort of texturing it. Anyways, that's that. I'm going to call it a night. And this is the brand of paint we're using. Golden. And then you can also add in this glazing fluid. If you start using things like glazing fluid mixed in with your paints, you can get... This is how you get acrylics to mimic oil paints, by adding different things to it, additives to it. But that's all I got for you guys. We worked on this. I got to go to bed because I got to get up early. And this is the rock I painted today. Started out doing this, and I was telling some stories. You know, it doesn't look too realistic, but you know, it is what it is. So that's what we finished. I did that earlier today on TikTok. And I'm going to upload the video once I finish editing it. Probably it'd be like tomorrow, maybe tomorrow evening, on this side of the rock. That'll be a long play video. Anyways, thank you very much for your support, JJ Man. Thank you, Faith Arkin. Thank you, Trigger Warning. Thank you, Wiser. And thanks everybody else for pushing the like button and pushing the subscribe button. And I'll be back later with something different. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.